Howdy folks, this is Collector's World. I am Dr. J, and today's topic, The Crow. Easily one of the coolest movies ever. It came out in 1994. Unfortunately, the star Brandon Lee passed away a year earlier during the filming at the end of March of '93. And the movie was very dark, very gothic, you know. The first movie I remember having a grunge soundtrack. And of course, with the release of the movie, as is commonly the case when something is so utterly cool, is, of course, the release of many collectibles, and The Crow is no exception. So we're going to begin with the Crow game, the Crow board game. Very rare piece, actually, and again, I don't know how many people actually, you know, would buy these and play the actual game. Mostly you just collect them, but it certainly was the coolest. The Crow lunchbox, and there were actually several different lunch boxes available, and, you know, very cool items, as always. Very cool collectibles. There were two different soundtracks to the movie. There was an actual soundtrack score, an actual music score, and of course the which this is the music score. Look, you can see the reflection of me holding the camera in the cover of the CD, and of course the you know, rock music score, the grunge music soundtrack. Two very cool items. Calendars. There were calendars, and literally the Crow to this day there are calendars year after year. A very cool collectible. Because of the tragedy, sadly, you know, it was cover stories on many magazines, and so there are many different types. The obligatory martial art magazines, of course, and, you know, mainstream magazines, People, etc., etc. The Crow press kit. Press kits are possibly my favorite items to collect. They got great production information, great 8x10 photographs. The Crow Japanese program. This is a Japanese program, and interestingly enough, you cannot get these here in North America, so you have to look, you know, you got to get them overseas. They always have great photographs. The text is in Japanese and English, funny enough, so certainly worth hunting down to add to the collection. There was one official movie book on the Crow, and it's this one right here. It was a great book. To my knowledge, the only one really on the film. However, there was this, the story behind the film. The actual book on the making of the movie, pre-production, production, post-production, and of course it covers the shooting of Brandon Lee, the tragedy, of course. What I didn't know, and this is very interesting, is when you film a lot of these movies, a lot of the soundtrack can't be used when it's shot right on the set, you know, actors' dialogue and all that. That's why they go back post-production and they redub their lines, redub their dialogue. And in the case of The Crow, you know, with rain machines and wind machines and all that, a lot of Brandon Lee's dialogue was unusable, so they actually had to hire a voice double. A lot of us fans know that obviously they used a body double in many of the scenes that needed to be shot after he had passed away, but they also dubbed, using two actors, most of his dialogue. So a lot of the dialogue in that film is not his, which is, you know, interesting, something I did not know. The DVD, a 2-disc set. In my opinion, they could have put more on this, but it's not that bad. It's not bad. There's an interview with Bruce Lee. There's the commentary by the director, and, you know, there's some deleted scenes, etc., etc. Postcards, another interesting collectible. You know, a liquor flask. I would not have guessed that there would be a liquor flask on the Crow, but, you know, there literally was everything and anything you could possibly imagine. The trading cards, always one of my favorite items when it comes to Collector's World. You know, I love the trading card sets. There's great photographs. This is a 100-card set. All kinds of stuff, of course, as always on the Crow. There was an interesting book that came out, more aimed at the juvenile audience, covered the, you know, the life stories of Bruce and his son Brandon, and the supposed dragon's curse. But nonetheless, you know, it was an interesting tale, and someone mentioned to me the other day about the similarities between Heath Ledger and Brandon Lee, and it's true. You know, they were both 28 when they passed away. They both, you know, were in makeup with a dark gothic character. You know, very interesting and eerie similarities. This is a Crow pillowcase, an actual pillowcase. Again, in my opinion, proving that there literally was everything on the Crow. So here we are, 16 years after the movie came out, 2010. 16 years later, and The Crow is still #1.